Von starts giving Quando the beats. Whatever. By the way, I'm going to tell you this right now. Some of these dudes have guns. He's in front. There's individuals back here who have a weapon in their hand. There's guns. Von starts giving Quando the beat.
The internet thought King Von's story had already been told. The music, the legacy, the controversy, the endless debates. But nobody was prepared for this moment, because this wasn't a song leak or an old interview resurfacing. This was something people never expected to see. Rare funeral footage suddenly appeared, and timelines didn't scroll past it. They stopped. Completely. Fans leaned in like they were watching something they weren't supposed to witness. Like a sealed chapter of history cracked open without warning. The energy wasn't hype. It wasn't nostalgia. It was heavy, quiet, and unsettling in a way that made people uncomfortable. This wasn't content. This felt personal. People replayed the video not out of curiosity, but disbelief. Seeing King Von celebrated in life was familiar. Seeing the final goodbye was something else entirely. It made the loss hit all over again, sharper than before. And the question everyone started asking wasn't what they were seeing, but why they were seeing it now. Because timing like this is never random. Some said the footage changed everything. Others said it crossed a line that should have stayed untouched. And a few whispered the thought nobody wanted to say out loud. Once moments like this go public, they can't be taken back. This wasn't nostalgia bait. This was reality resurfacing. And once it hit the internet, there was no turning away. When the video first surfaced, the reaction wasn't excitement. It was confusion mixed with a heavy pause. Fans didn't rush to comment. They stared. Because this wasn't the kind of footage people were conditioned to see online. This wasn't performance or promotion. This was finality showing up without permission. The footage didn't feel polished or planned. It felt raw, quiet, and uncomfortable in a way that demanded attention. King Von's funeral had always existed as an idea, not a visual. People talked about it, referenced it, respected it from a distance. Seeing it removed that distance instantly. What made it hit harder was how ordinary it looked. No dramatic angles. No music guiding emotions. Just reality sitting there, unfiltered. That kind of realism doesn't go viral because it's flashy. It goes viral because it forces people to feel something they didn't ask for. Fans replayed the clip slowly, not to analyze, but to process. It didn't feel like watching history. It felt like interrupting something private. And that discomfort spreads fast across timelines, turning curiosity into reflection. Almost immediately, the questions started forming. Where did this footage come from? Who had it all this time? And why did it appear now, years later, without explanation? Because in internet culture, delayed releases always feel intentional. Some people assumed it was recorded by someone close and never meant to leave that space. Others believed it was always destined to surface eventually, because nothing stays hidden forever. Both ideas made people uneasy for different reasons. The comment sections shifted tone quickly. Instead of jokes, people shared memories. Instead of arguments, people shared silence. Fans talked about discovering King Von through music, through stories, through controversies. Seeing the funeral made those memories feel heavier, more permanent. Others felt conflicted. They questioned whether moments like funerals should ever become public content. They argued that grief isn't meant for mass consumption, especially when the person can no longer consent. That debate didn't get loud, but it got serious at the same time. Supporters defended the footage, saying it showed love, respect, and the real impact King Von had beyond charts. They said it reminded people he wasn't just a headline or a statistic. He was someone who mattered deeply to real people. As the video spread, fans started noticing details. Who appeared in the footage? Who didn't? The mood, the energy. Every frame was treated like it held hidden meaning. Grief has a way of making people search for answers in silence. That scrutiny reopened old conversations. Discussions about loyalty resurfaced. Industry relationships were questioned again. People debated who stood by King Von and who benefited from his legacy after he was gone. The timing added another layer of tension. This footage didn't drop on an anniversary or during a tribute wave. It appeared randomly, without context. That randomness made it feel less like remembrance and more like intrusion. Some accused the release of being driven by attention. Others argued that the footage had educational or emotional value. The internet couldn't agree, but it couldn't look away either. What unsettled fans most was how human the footage felt. No bravado, no persona. Just the reality that even legends have endings. That kind of truth doesn't fit comfortably into viral culture. People realized they weren't just reacting to a video. They were reacting to a reminder. A reminder that music careers end, debates fade, but loss stays real for those left behind. By the end of the day, the footage had already changed the conversation. King Von's name wasn't trending because of controversy or music. It was trending because people were forced to confront the final chapter. And once that door was opened, it became clear this story wasn't going to stay quiet. Once the footage spread beyond the first wave of fans, the internet shifted into overdrive. What started as quiet shock turned into non-stop debate. Every platform had an opinion, and every opinion sounded certain. Even though nobody knew the full story behind the video. Reaction pages moved fast, but the tone was different from usual. The thumbnails weren't loud for laughs. They were heavy, dramatic, and uncomfortable. Creators tried to balance respect with relevance, and that tension showed in every caption and headline. Memes still appeared, but they felt off. People joked cautiously, like they were testing the room before laughing. Some posts got deleted within minutes after backlash, proving that even online humor has limits when grief enters the timeline. Celebrities didn't directly address the footage, but the timing of their posts spoke volumes. Quotes about respect, privacy, and honoring the dead flooded feeds. Nobody mentioned names, yet everyone knew what sparked the conversation. The comparisons grew intense. Fans said this felt darker than any documentary. Others said it made reality TV look staged and shallow. Some compared it to seeing deleted scenes from history that were never meant for public release. As the debate grew, people started questioning the ethics. Was sharing the footage a tribute or an invasion? Did the internet have the right to consume moments that were meant for family and close friends only? These questions didn't have easy answers. At the same time, curiosity kept pulling people back. Views climbed. Reposts multiplied. Even those who felt uncomfortable admitted they couldn't fully look away. The footage became a mirror, reflecting how the internet handles grief when it goes viral. Fans began pulling up old interviews and lyrics, reinterpreting them through this new lens. Lines that once felt bold now felt haunting. Confidence turned into prophecy in the eyes of listeners searching for meaning. Discussions about King Von's legacy intensified. Some argued the footage solidified his impact, showing how deeply he was respected. Others worried it would overshadow his music, turning remembrance into spectacle. The comment sections became emotional spaces. People shared personal losses. Stories about funerals they still couldn't watch footage of. Moments when seeing something similar reopened wounds they thought had healed. Media coverage added fuel instead of clarity. Headlines leaned dramatic, focusing on the rarity rather than the responsibility. Words like unseen and exclusive carried weight, even when paired with reminders about sensitivity. As the noise grew louder, the absence of an official explanation became noticeable. No clear source, no confirmation of consent. That silence allowed speculation to thrive and misinformation to spread unchecked. Some fans defended the lack of explanation, saying not everything needs to be justified publicly. Others argued that transparency mattered when private moments became public property. The conversation shifted from the footage itself to the culture surrounding it. People questioned why tragedy becomes content so easily. Why boundaries collapse once views are involved. Why respect often comes after backlash, not before. By the end of the day, the footage had transformed into something bigger than a video. It became a cultural moment that exposed how the internet processes loss, legacy, and morality in real time, and as emotions continued to rise. It was clear the consequences of this release were only beginning to surface after the initial shock settled. The footage didn't disappear from people's minds. It lingered, quietly but heavily. The kind of weight that doesn't trend loudly but stays present every time King Von's name comes up again. Fans didn't just move on to the next topic. They carried the image with them. Streams of his music spiked, but the tone around it changed. Lyrics that once sounded fearless now felt reflective. Lines people used to quote casually started hitting deeper. The footage reshaped how many people talked about his legacy. Not erased, not rewritten, just reframed. King Von was no longer only discussed as a rapper, a figure, or a headline. He was discussed as a life that ended with people left behind to grieve. For some fans, the video created closure. A painful kind, but closure nonetheless. Seeing the final goodbye made the loss feel real in a way interviews and tributes never fully did. It grounded the myth in reality. For others, it did the opposite. It reopened wounds. People spoke about feeling like they'd seen something they weren't meant to carry. Like grief had been outsourced to strangers who never asked for it. The families and inner circles were suddenly pulled back into the spotlight without saying a word. People analyzed who appeared in the footage and who didn't, turning absence into speculation. Silence became suspicious, even when it shouldn't have been. That scrutiny revealed something uncomfortable. Once a moment goes public, privacy becomes optional in the eyes of the internet. Even grief gets dissected for meaning, loyalty, and narrative value. Industry conversations shifted quietly. Artists referenced Von differently. Less bravado, more respect, more finality. The footage reminded people that careers don't end with fades, they end abruptly. Without warning. At the same time, criticism grew toward the culture that allowed the video to spread so easily. Fans questioned whether the internet knows when to stop. Whether boundaries matter once something goes viral. The footage also sparked conversations about consent after death. Who gets to decide what is shared? Who owns moments that were never meant for millions of eyes? These questions didn't have answers. But they didn't go away either. Media outlets eventually moved on, but the impact remained. The footage didn't dominate headlines forever, but it permanently altered the way King Von's story is told. It added a final chapter nobody expected to read. New fans discovered his music through the controversy, while longtime supporters revisited old tracks with different ears. The same songs, but a different weight attached to them. What became clear was this. The footage didn't damage his legacy, but it complicated it. It added humanity where mythology once stood, and humanity is harder to package cleanly. Some argued the video should never have been released. Others said it was inevitable in a world where everything becomes content. Both sides were probably right in different ways. The most lasting effect wasn't outrage or shock. It was reflection. People sat with the idea that fame doesn't shield anyone from endings, that legends don't exit gracefully. They leave behind silence and unanswered questions, and maybe that's why the footage hit so hard. Not because it was rare, but because it reminded everyone watching that stories don't always get tidy conclusions. King Von's name will always carry weight. His music will always spark debate. But now, there's an image attached that no headline can erase. Reminder that behind every legacy is a life that stopped. And once you see that, you don't unsee it. Now don't sit there acting like this didn't hit you. If that footage made you pause, rewind, or just stare at your screen in silence, that's because this wasn't regular internet content. This was history resurfacing without warning. And moments like that don't leave people untouched. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Not the recycled takes, the real ones. Did this footage bring closure, or did it cross a line that should have stayed untouched? Did it change how you hear the music, or did it remind you why the legacy matters even more? Say it out loud. This comment section is about to tell a story of its own. Hit that like button like the algorithm tried to hide this moment from you. Smash it like respect still matters in a space that usually chases clicks over context. Every like tells the system you want depth, not just noise. If you're not subscribed yet, fix that immediately. This channel doesn't just repeat headlines. We dig into the moments people argue about, whisper about, and pretend don't matter until they hit too close to home. Turn on notifications so you don't miss what drops next. Because stories like this don't end when the video stops. New details surface. Conversations shift. And the internet always circles back when you least expect it. Scandals resurface. Legacies get re-examined. And the past never stays buried forever. Stay locked in. Stay sharp. Stay ready for the next moment that shakes the culture. This is Rap Shocker.